I'm so glad that you're joining us today, and thank you so much for participating in this conversation. Do you want to start by maybe introducing yourself and sharing a bit about your health background as it relates to in general and your gut health
Okay.
journey?
Okay. My name is Diana Huff, and I'm 70. So I'd like to say that because it's never too late. And basically, I've been dealing with what I thought was irritable bowel for probably 20 years and impacted my life and people around me very significantly. And 2.5 years ago now, I had my gallbladder out, and that brought more significant diarrhea, which I wasn't expecting. I thought that that would solve things, and it didn't. I had diarrhea for probably 6 weeks. It impacted a trip to go see my granddaughter get married, which was really my husband looking forward to a nice trip, and it impacted him too. That led to emotional and a significant bout with anxiety. I started at that point reaching out, trying to advocate. I had people around me that were walking with me to try to figure this out. It wasn't easy to find a GI that would listen. They really sometimes can be really significantly understanding, and finally found GI that I felt comfortable with. And she did even say in the beginning that there was a dietitian that if nothing else, we could go down that route. So even that, all kinds of tests, all kinds of colonoscopies to try to figure out. And they always said, oh, we're just so surprised that it wasn't this. And finally, my mental health and emotional health going down that, really my physical health, advocating on a whole. So when the last test came back, they couldn't figure it out. I said, well, you had said something about somebody, a dietitian, which was Alyssa. And we started talking early summer, I believe, early this summer.
Yeah. It was May.
You
And so
know,
now it's October right now. Yeah.
yeah. Sure, we'll give it a try. And I guess even that, not really being very hopeful, but we'll give it a try. That brings us up to,
So
uh,
now to this
yeah,
point.
yes, yeah,
And you said you had lots of tests,
yeah,
medications, I would
yes,
assume.
yes. Anti-diarrhea, Imodium, which would work, but for a day or so you're constipated, and then the backlash of that. Had medication, I could, even traveling, I dreaded it. That would make the anxiety worse. Yeah, lots of stuff we tried.
Lots of stuff you tried and lots of testing, and that's how you ended up with me
Yes,
because they
yeah,
couldn't find what they expected to find and threw up their hands, right?
yes.
Which happens a lot with IBS. So you mentioned that you missed your granddaughter's wedding.
I was there.
Oh, okay.
It was in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I did go, but really, instead of able to enjoy the trip, I was mostly I did get to see her wedding, but I was mostly in my hotel room, not wanting to eat because I wanted to be able to do other things. So yeah, it just didn't turn out. We
So
hope.
had a major impact just on your ability to do things and
Yeah.
with your day to day as well.
Oh yeah, yes. I guess I never let things stop me, but I would, and in fact, I don't plan things early morning because I would be sorry. So people would go hike early morning, and I never participated in that. Yeah, very much impactful. So in life and how I constructed my life. So
And you had some symptoms outside of just the digestive tract symptoms, right?
mhm.
Would you mind sharing with us what those were? Because I think those, when we started talking about those symptoms, that was a big clue in helping us figure out what was going on. And I
uh,
can tell you what I have in my notes because I actually asked you, do you have symptoms outside the digestive tract? And that would be things like body pain, stiff swollen joints, numbness.
I didn't even know that those could be a part of it.
brain fog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Water retention. Yeah. So things like that you didn't even think to mention because you
yeah,
thought we're just talking about this other issue.
yeah.
Those actually clued me in.
Maybe it was for so long that I just ignored you. I remember you asking me if I bloated, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. But just things like that, I just ignored. Yeah.
Yeah. So those things clued us into, and in your case, you ended up having the least common type of bacterial overgrowth, which is this hydrogen sulfide kind. Your test results, we did a lactulose breath test to check for bacterial overgrowth in the small intestine, and then we also did a comprehensive digestive stool analysis. And the breath test results were consistent with hydrogen sulfide overgrowth, which was consistent with this kind of set of symptoms that we're talking about as far as inside the digestive tract and
Yes.
outside the digestive tract. And the other thing that really clued me into that was that you've had your gallbladder removed. And I've seen that a
Yes.
lot with
Yes.
other people
Yes.
because this specific type of bacteria that produce hydrogen sulfide, they really like a bile-rich environment. So
Got
we're
it.
seeing it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and
In fact, I guess if I can interject, the GI at one point, because I had such urgency, that was even what brought the panic and the anxiety. I wouldn't make it. One appointment with her, I explained the results of that, and she said, "Oh, I think you are having too much bile and what that can do." And so she did confirm that. And which cautionary tale. I going to get my gallbladder out, did not know the impact. Of course, every body part you have is important, but yeah. So
and you needed your gallbladder out, right?
yeah, it was. In fact, they had said 7 years before I had it out that I needed it out. And I just decided you can't have too many body parts go missing. So I resisted for 7 years and then thought you can't go back and change things. But now I'm wondering if it could have been different, if I wouldn't have had to, if I would have known the real problem. But that
But
is,
you were having diarrhea prior to that,
oh yeah,
right?
oh
Right.
yes, yeah. And I had, what they said is my gallbladder was sludgy. They
Yeah.
didn't say stones, they said sludgy.
Yeah. Sludge
So,
can lead to stones, so that's the concern.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yes.
And you shared with me as well that 20 years ago or so, when this first started, you had many weeks of antibiotics,
Yeah,
right?
I had a bout with pneumonia, and they put me on penicillin, which I didn't think would work. But so one after another, probably 3 different antibiotics from end of December till into February. And when I think back, certain monumental things happened during that time that I can look back, and we went to Disneyland, and I got stuck at Disneyland and had never had that happen to me. And that was after that. So definitely went back to that and never had that problem before, and definitely was something had happened.
I always like to think through the history and what predisposed you to having this issue. And I think it was a combination of things. So, what can you share with me some of the things we did? And I can help you with specifics if you don't
Okay.
remember. But
Yeah. You've been very patient with me and trying things slowly and adding the sun fiber.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was our first step, the sun
yes,
fiber.
yes. And the things we added, and didn't see things right away, but kept on the protocol. And you would always encourage, this is just 3 months, and then the next step.
In general, we
Yes,
changed your
yes,
diet. So a lot of people will start out with low FODMAP, and we might have done that
we did at the
initially
beginning. Yes, you
with
tried
this.
that. Yeah,
Do you remember if that helped at all?
yeah, some, and
Yeah.
and the low sulfur. Yes,
Yeah.
it did. I was amazed that did help some, and so baby steps. And I don't think I was the easiest patient you've ever had, because I didn't have a whole lot of, I was willing to try, but I guess, and I'm thankful for your encouragement to keep on. There was times when it went the other way, but your encouragement to keep trying and stay on the path. Yes, so I'm
Yeah.
very thankful for that.
Yeah, we started out with the low FODMAP because you have diarrhea, and that's
Yeah.
very
Yes.
commonly that will help. And I think you're right, it helped a little bit. And then we switched once we got the test results back and we started putting the pieces of the puzzle together and realized we might be dealing with hydrogen sulfide, pivoted to a low sulfur diet, and that worked a lot better.
It did.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's another clue for people potentially. So if you're
Yes.
dealing with the GI symptoms plus these outside of the GI tract, lots of brain fog and fatigue and body
Yes.
aches and
Yes.
that sort of thing. And you feel better, maybe a little better on low FODMAP, but not a lot better. I think the reason for that is the low FODMAP diet does pull out some very high sulfur foods that are everywhere, especially onion and garlic and some of
Yes.
the cruciferous vegetables, not all of them.
Yes.
But that's the other thing, it leaves in some of the heavy hitting high sulfur foods like eggs and broccoli. Low FODMAP pulls out cauliflower and Brussels sprouts, but leaves in broccoli, kale, and cabbage and eggs and some other high sulfur foods. So we pivoted, we
Yeah.
allowed you to eat the FODMAPs and we switched to low sulfur. And so that's another clue. If you're not sure, okay,
Yes.
try low sulfur for a couple weeks and see if that helps.
I just blamed everything on the irritable bowel instead of unwinding everything and little by little seeing how everything had gone together. And it wasn't just irritable bowel, it was how things were impacting me and the bad, liking what I was even bringing on into it, too much sugar that can feed the wrong. And I was amazed when we did the one study, the breath study, of how many good and bad bacteria, how many we have in our gut is amazing. And yeah, even that, just having education on my health and the gut, how impactful it is and how important our gut is, has been very good.
Yeah, and we were able to see specifically which bacteria, which probiotic bacteria you're low in, and now you're on a probiotic that has those strains. So it really helped, that stool testing helped us to target your plan. And basically what we did alongside the diet is we layered in some different herbal supplements, some different, basically to support your body in the healing, in the removal phase, as far as removing the problem, and then reintroducing healing and re-inoculating. So that's where we're at now. We're in kind of those final phases. We're working on building up your microbiome. Can you talk about how things have improved over the past few months and how you're feeling now?
I've said to you, it feels like a miracle. I don't think I knew how it was to feel normal. My husband says, when somebody says, "Oh, is Diana having trouble?" and he'll say, "No, we got that under our feet. We got that taken care of." And like I said, I don't think I knew what it was to feel normal. Now, be able to look ahead and think I could have a trip. I could go on a trip and not dread that. It's been significant. And I'm very appreciative of your patience and encouragement to stay on the course. And yeah, so it's great. And I'm thankful.
You're very welcome. And what I would say about that is if it's happened, it's been very few people where it's just been a smooth, easy road. Healing takes time and it's a bumpy road. So you take a step, 2 steps back, or 2 steps forward, hopefully, and 1 step back. And that's what happened. And then you also had other stuff popping up in your life. And that's how it works pretty much with all of my clients. So that's just life. And we have to,
You're right.
we just work through it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that are different about your day-to-day now that from before?
I can eat a salad. The other night, met a bunch of ladies, and I had a salad with nuts in it. I enjoyed it. I wasn't afraid to eat it. My daughter, who's been very aware of my process, was like, "I'm so glad to see you eating a salad without fear." And yeah, so that's very significant. Yeah. So day to day, making healthier choices, knowing how healthier choices impact, afraid to eat is a great thing. Yeah. No, that's
Big one. Because you would not eat in order to go do things, right? Without having to be in
yep, yep,
episode. Oh, that's wonderful. And of course, we need you to eat to rebuild your gut bacteria back. You have
yes,
to eat a
yes,
lot of different
yeah,
plant foods to do that. And those are the very foods that aggravate you when you're not, when you're
yes.
in the middle of all the problems, when
Mhm.
you have the overgrowth, when you have the issues. What advice or would you share with someone else who might be struggling with similar issues?
Don't be afraid to take the step and don't give up. If it doesn't change the next week or the next month, stay with the process. And I believe that you know what you're talking about. And I appreciate your encouragement to stay the course. Nothing comes overnight. Nothing that's worth it comes overnight. Yeah, stay the course. And it was May and now it's October. And I feel like I have a new lease on life. And that's a wonderful thing. So I'm grateful and grateful. I really feel like in a lot of things, God has charted the path for me. And I feel like you are a part of that. And I'm grateful.
Yeah, I'm just so glad we found each other
Yeah.
and we were able to figure this out. And thank you for having this conversation today.
Mhm,
Hopefully, it resonates
mhm.
with someone. I would say maybe one more question for you, because I think people might be wondering, what do you feel was different about what we did versus what you had tried before?
I think thing now where I wish the medical and the natural could come together more because it seems like there's just this thing where the medical system and the natural kind of clash. And I so appreciate. So in the past, a lot of it was to deal with the symptoms. And you got to the root and you helped me get to the root and didn't let me give up till we got to the root. And a lot of it is there are doctors out there that will help you get to the root and not cover things up and encourage. And I think it could be overwhelming to people to take that on, but it hasn't been. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree with you that our system really needs more connection between the natural. You said it very well, the natural and the way that standard medicine is working these days.
Yes. And I was at home. We never met in person. We could have, but we didn't. I was at home. That was also a benefit of being able to just be here with our appointments. So I appreciated that too.
Okay, so great chatting with you today,
Yeah.
and thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah. Thank you.